Warning. The following video contains strong language that some viewers may find offensive or disturbing.
What do you genuinely not understand? The process of thought. How we can make so many decisions in a split second. Internal dialogue is crazy. Does everyone have the same sort of inner thoughts? Do animals have internal dialogue? When I think about it, it blows my mind. Oh man, I had a fucking existential crisis recently. When I started thinking about how my thoughts just popped into my head and I actually have no control of what I think. Like I don't decide to think something. I just do. How the fuck do brains even work? Do I even have free will? Am I just a biological machine running calculations based on previous experience? Not to get too crazy. But man, this shit weirds me out whenever I think of it. Bitcoin. No matter how it's explained to me. All these computers are trying to lockpick open a box with more locked boxes inside it. So think of a locked chest inside a locked chest, which is inside another locked chest, etc. Each layer is currency you can own by unlocking it. After they unlock a layer, they keep digging into the next layer for more. In this example, if you unlocked layer 72, you would then keep that unlocked check labeled 72 as proof. You don't get the contents of the chest. You get the chest itself as currency. Other people can continue to work on layer 71. There's also a network so the computers can verify nobody is cheating. Kind of like sharing a checkbook with lots of different people. If 1,000 people agree on a single statement, it's likely to be true. The idea is that anything can be money. Bitcoin is like using the answers to complicated math problems as money. I was really good at maths at school until year 10 when we hit a topic called numbers and proof. It was about proving that the answer to an equation was definitely right. I don't really know, because I never understood a single thing the teacher said that whole term. Same for me, I was perfectly fine with math up until calculus. And while I got the bits and pieces of calculus, I could not understand the big picture of it. Like if you guide me step by step I could do it. But doing a problem on a test and navigating it myself? None of it made any logical sense to me. It all seemed like arbitrary wacky nonsense to me. And I thought maybe I had a bad teacher or something. But, I had to take calc in college after that. And I did okay, but I think it was just because I had just repeated a course I had in high school. And any attempts to revisit it just made no sense. Edit. A lot of you are trying to explain calculus to me in terms that make calculus maddeningly incomprehensible. You're mostly proving my point. I'm a physics teacher and I'm embarrassed to say that despite reading several explanations, I still don't understand how batteries work. Specifically, if one end of the battery basically houses excess electrons and the positive side has a dearth of electrons, why doesn't connecting two batteries but not in a closed circuit cause half of each battery to drain? Traffic. You sit on the highway driving 3 miles per hour thinking, must be a wreck ahead, then you get clear of the traffic and there was never any clear reason or cause for the traffic. When people who are blind since birth talk about that they do not even see black. It's like nothingness. I mean, they also don't know what black is if they've been fully blind since birth. They have no benchmark of black to compare what they see to. Chemistry. I genuinely have no idea how atomic layers or molecule diagrams work and no explanation I have ever had has helped. Please do not send me any explanations. Thank you. Why I hate going to sleep and also hate waking up. Edit. I know people hate edits but I didn't think this would murder my inbox and I don't have time to reply to every single person. So, I'm not depressed. I used to be, for several years. But a few years ago I got better. Didn't just happen overnight obviously, but I'm not gonna go into detail about it here. I'm much happier now and enjoy life a lot more. But I still hate my sleep schedule. I keep trying to get it somewhat normal, but it keeps getting fucked up. Maybe anxiety is a part of it. But I doubt that is the sole reason. I don't hate change. For the most part, it depends on the change, but I don't think that applies here. I'm not a toddler, kinda wish I was though sometimes. I've tried using melatonin and other sleep aids. Sometimes it works but not always. Doesn't matter how early I go to bed. I will lay in bed for 6 hours and not be able to go to sleep until 7 in the morning. I've had this problem for almost a couple decades now and in multiple settings, when I was in high school, when I had a full-time job, and now that I'm going back to school and have a part-time job. I didn't know hating get in and out of showers was thing. But apparently it is. What a bunch of weirdos. Seriously though, I just think it's very nuanced and there are multiple factors that contribute to it. I'd like to have a sleep study done, but it's so difficult to find the time to do so right now. And to all my fellow sleep haters, unite. Or not. We'd probably be a terrible team. Being tired and sleeping at odd times and whatnot. Highly motivated people. You know the internal demon you have to fight to get something done, it's the opposite for over-motivated people. It's like when you're not completing tasks you've ruined your day and it eats you up inside. People who share unsolicited nudes. Why? What are you hoping to gain? What's the end game? Like some poor hapless person is just gonna be like, hey nice cock bro. Here's £1 million or some shit, just. Why? Guys that hit each other in the nuts for fun. WTF is with that. I watched an interview with Steve-O and he says fans want him to kick them in the nuts and are so happy and thank him when he does. I think it's more the hitting that's supposed to be fun. Not the being hit. Obviously it's a bit different with asking Steve-O cause he's famous from Jackass. The person wants a cool story, Steve-O kicked me in the balls. An important note. When hitting your mates in the balls, you're supposed to do it lightly. It's about the reaction, not trying to cause them permanent damage. Of course that might happen accidentally anyway but people doing it don't generally realize that. How so many fucking terrible commercials make it to TV. When I see a dumb commercial, my thought is always the same, a group of grown-ass people sat around a table somewhere and discussed how they want to promote their brand. They came up with an entire marketing strategy, probably had a vote about it, and sent approval on to the marketing department, company for production. That marketing department created, scripted, filmed, and produced that piece of shit commercial. Then they sent it back to the group of grown-ass people who sat around the same table watching the shitty commercial before agreeing that it's sending the exact message they want about their brand. They likely then vote again to approve running it on TV. A huge budget is approved for putting that dumb-ass commercial out there. And the result is the piece of crap I just saw on TV. Yeah, I don't understand that. I work in an agency similar to the one you describe. We just did a rebrand and the guy in charge of creating our promotional video made absolute shit. But the problem is nobody could argue with him cause he's the director of design in our company and happens to be the CEO's best friend. So we ended up having to post this piece of ass video that those two thought were really good. It's just because they're so far up each other's asses, and their own, that they believe everything they make is gold. How anyone learns to read. When I try to break it down it just seems so crazy and impossible. See this shape? It sounds like this. Or like this. Or sometimes like this. Actually, sometimes it doesn't make any sound at all. Got it? Great. Now here's 25 more of them but 4-year-olds are doing it. Insane. I've always wondered how English-speaking kids learn to read. In my native language, Finnish, each letter represents only one sound. English-speaking kids and/or teachers must have some superpowers. Emotions. I have emotions. I experience emotions, but they don't permeate every part of my life. And I often think everyone else is overly emotional, when it's probably me just lacking emotional range. Edit, the empathy thing. I do understand empathy and I act with the knowledge that I should do things based on how I want people to treat me, the golden rule, but it's not emotionally driven. It just seems ludicrous that someone wouldn't behave that way. Also, I know it's cliché but thank you for my first gold. I thought this comment would just get buried. Edit, grammar. I have trouble with empathy. It's not that I don't experience it. It's that I don't exaggerate it enough for people to believe I feel it. A decision was made. Something contrary to what was expected happened and we can't change it. All we can do is fix the problem. Should I start crying? Would that help? The fourth dimension. What the actual heck? I read an explain like I'm 5 thread but it still doesn't help. There are 2 ways to think of the fourth dimension. 1. It's time, which is comprehensible by the human brain too. To understand this other version of the fourth dimension, we first have to look at 2D and 3D. Let's look at 2D first. If there was a box in the room with a ball inside and a light source, the box would cast a linear shadow. In 3D, if there was a box with a ball inside and a light source, it would cast a 2D shadow. This is the world you're familiar with. Now, with 4D, you'd still be in a sort of 3D space, but you'd be able to see every side of the box. And thus, the ball as well. If there was still a light source in the room, it would cast a 3D shadow. People who take personal offense when your taste in music, movies, food, whatever differs from theirs. I went to college with a guy who listened to exclusively classic rock. Great genre, totally get it. Except he would get legitimately angry when someone put on rap in the car or wanted to sing pop at karaoke. Refused to work with a friend of mine in a group project because she loved techno. Said her opinions would never matter because obviously something was wrong with her. Why can't you just let people enjoy the shit they like? Any kind of abuse. I have no idea how you can hit someone, something without a huge amount of guilt. I still don't know exactly what radiation is and how it works, and at this point I'm afraid to ask. I always think of it as some kind of invisible man stabbing your cells depending on how close you get. How language developed. Obviously it did, but I just can't fathom how. I just picture cavemen men walking and pointing to things and grunting. Sorry for the edit, but my typo was driving me crazy. That's basically it. They made sounds to refer to stuff and people caught on and used the same sounds and understood through context and repetition what each other meant. And it built and spread from there. I imagine early communication started with things like, hey, relax, I'm not gonna kill you, come here, look, food, tasty animal, danger. All things that are kind of obvious what is intended to convey in context and with pointing at the thing as you make a sound. For watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and hit the notification button. See you next time.